Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chanel informs Johnny that she threw her back out when he visits her in the hospital. In a flashback, he witnesses Alex having sex in a hospital room with an invisible person. How did Chanel hurt her back? He asks stiffly. She claims that when she bowed down to tie her shoe, her back gave out. He deadpans, just like that, huh? He opens his mouth to say something as he sees Alex having sex once more, but Alex comes in to see how Chanel is doing. Stephanie tells Jada she had sex with Alex at the pub, looking flustered. Jada is ecstatic and devours the details of them doing it in a hospital bed on set. Stephanie is unsure of what to believe now because she assumed Alex merely wanted to be friends. And because she had to handle the PR fallout from Hattie leaving the set, they were unable to speak afterwards. Jada thinks that she and Alex might be embarking on a wonderful journey. Stephanie fears that instead, it would destroy their friendship. At the Brady pub, Stephanie leans intently toward Jada, who is seated across from her. While Leo is writing a body and soul script, there is a knock on his door in the Salem Inn. He opens the door, thinking Hattie is on the other side, but closes it right away. Telling him she's Marlena, she goes through the door. Unsure of what he told her in therapy, he questions her. After passing his test, he grants her admission. She explains that Abe told her that Leo needed to talk to her, which is why she is there. Leo describes how Hattie abandoned them just before her death scene, leaving them in the dark. You must tumble down an elevator shaft for us. Marlena waits in the corridor, looking at Leo as he slams the door to his room at the Salem Inn shut. Brady eventually recalls that Fiona was the driver of the vehicle that struck Sarah as they are being questioned. He gives Eric credit for bringing up his memories. Without him, he would have never discovered his innocence. Eric promises that Fiona will cover the cost and they'll get him out of there. Fiona is stopped by Xander at the Kiriakis estate before she can push Sarah in her wheelchair down the stairs. Xander is incensed at his mother's threats to murder his wife. Fiona, according to Sarah, doesn't want anyone to know that she pushed her into the chair. With a roar, Xander shoves Fiona aside. Sarah recalls seeing Fiona in the driver's seat and tells him so. Fiona feigns weakness as she acknowledges that she struck Sarah when Xander approaches her. Xander grabs Sarah's wheelchair and gives Fiona a harsh look as she pushes it. Xander carries Fiona downstairs in a fit of rage while Sarah caters to a sobbing Victoria. She tries to defend herself, but he rages. She messed it up right away, but she was unable to tell him the truth because he is the one positive thing in her life. Recalling how special it was to reunite with him during the wedding, she breaks down in tears. Xander will never be able to forgive her for getting wasted, leaving Sarah injured on the street, and framing an innocent man even though he could understand her slipping off the wagon. Johnny becomes irritated at the hospital when Alex and Chanel discuss their postponed romantic moment. Chanel notices Johnny is acting strangely after Alex leaves and inquires as to why. It's just been a hard day, he says. She claims that she senses jealousy from him. He wonders, what's there to be jealous of? You and Alex aren't really having sex, is that right? She gives him a perplexed expression. Johnny sits at Chanel's side in the hospital as she sits up in her fully clothed bed. Alex puts her hands behind Johnny's shoulders. Brady questions why Sarah told the cops he was the driver while they are questioning her in the interrogation room. They'll investigate the enigma at a later date, despite Eric's insistence that she wasn't shielding Fiona. Jada joins them later to hear Brady's side of the tale. His word is not enough for her. Eric advises her to speak with Sarah and Fiona. She will obtain all necessary proof. At the mansion, Xander argues that if he hadn't just walked in on Fiona as she was attempting to kill the love of his life, he would be able to feel something for her. She is adamant that she didn't intend to do it. She simply went into panic mode. She feels so bad about herself. He observes that's when she typically runs off and cuts. She stayed because she was afraid of losing him. He declares, "You have lost me now. Forever. Indefinitely." Marlena notes in Leo's chamber that she has already informed Abe that she does not wish to participate in the BNS production. Leo begs till she gives in. She makes it plain that their embrace is temporary as he gives it to her. Eric calls and asks her to come to the police station because he has some excellent news. Stephanie and Alex cross paths outside of their apartments. He extends an invitation for her to come to his apartment, where they awkwardly discuss the big issue. They chat about how they've always been attracted to one another but that it's not enough for a relationship while making charged eye contact and inching closer to one another. They both acknowledge their obvious attraction to one another and decide not to discontinue their friendship. He pulls her into a deep, passionate kiss as they exchange playful goodnight wishes. Chanel is put to bed by Johnny in the DiMera house. When she invites him to come, he declines, saying he has work to do. He makes himself a drink after coming downstairs. He becomes enraged because he feels foolish and is falsely furious over Chanel having sex with Alex. His glass smashes in the foyer as he tosses it. When Marlena discovers Brady is innocent in the interrogation room, she is ecstatic. She says she's sorry she thought otherwise. Brady is aware that she and Eric have supported him throughout everything. He commits to completing his treatment and utilizing his second opportunity. Xander tells Fiona at the Kuriaki mansion that his anger is different from what he felt for Brady. He is ashamed, disgusted, and shocked. He never imagined that he would need to report his own mother to the police. As she walks in, Jada adds, "You don't have to." Fiona is placed under arrest as she arrests her and tells Xander she's all caught up. Sarah goes to join them. She is shocked at how foolish it was of her to bring Fiona to Salem and entrust her with her daughter. Fiona tells Xander and Sarah, with tears in her eyes, how much she truly loves them. Jada walks her out. Watching in tears is an enraged Xander. What they say might well be true. At least when it comes to super couples, they don't make M like they used to. It might be excruciatingly hard to come up with the perfect combination to form a super couple. It used to appear as though Days of Our Lives was a super couple factory, producing incredibly popular couples on a regular basis. Relationships nowadays tend to have a harder time catching on to the same extent as Kimberly and Shane, John and Marlena, or Steve and Kayla. However, narratives change, people change, and maybe most significantly, storytelling evolves. When discussing how Stella came to be almost 40 years ago, Mary Beth Evans mentions this to SWON.com. Evans notes, "Unlike today's couple dom, we were put together from the beginning and it's always been about us. They always loved each other, despite the things that tore us apart. They always loved one another, and things aren't the same now at all." Steve and Kayla's initial marriage ceremony on a yacht on Days. In case you missed it the first time, Catherine Mary Stewart had a brief role as Kayla in the early 1980s. After Beau's sister and Roman left, Evans took control when she came back in 1986. Although Kayla and Steve first came into contact during Evans' employment, the actress remembers that it took years for them to formally go public with their relationship. However, Nichols tells Swoon that after then, their fate was all but set. "We've been a couple who has always loved each other," he says. "And there was always something going on when we weren't together or apart." Evans remarks, "We seem to be among the last people standing in that regard, but I really enjoy it. That makes me feel incredibly lucky." Furthermore, as Nichols states, "We were never apart in our thoughts. We have been in love forever." Though it might also inspire hope for another well-known pair, albeit one from much more recent times, that is absurdly adorable. In Billy Flynn's opinion, Abigail is the only love that can ever compare to Chad. Even though she's gone, Chad won't let her leave. For many admirers, that is the reason why this most recent fictitious Abigail story is so upsetting. We were led to believe that we were a wonderful relationship again, but in reality, it's all a massive scam. However, Steve is at least aware of the scam because he recently shown Abigail to be a complete fraud. Perhaps there is a connection between them all, offering us hope for the true Abigail and Chad. After spending 16 years dead and gone, Steve came back to regain his memories, and he and Kayla were back and stronger than before. Even though Abigail might not return to life for years, her romance with Chad might, like that of her aunt and uncle, resume at some point.